Welcome back to LSAT Games. It has been a minute, as always ends up happening with me, but here we are. We're going to work today on PrepTest 91. It's experimental, which means it does not count, which is a shame because the two games we've done so far in this section have been pretty easy, and just having glanced at the setup here already, I'm pretty sure this is going to be another relatively easy game. Either way though, let's get into it. PrepTest 91, experimental game section, game 3, questions 11 through 16. Here we go. An industrial electrician attaches exactly 7 components. Designated, here we go, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z to a circuit board in exactly 7 consecutive steps. All right, love it. I'm already thinking this is a one-to-one order game, right? It looks like we've got 7 components for 7 spaces. And so let's set up an order diagram. Each component is attached exactly once, and each is attached either by hand or by machine. Okay, interesting. So actually, it's still a one-to-one order game, but it looks like we've got a 2-dimensionality to it. In addition to these elements, I've also got to figure out, is it by hand or by machine that they get attached. So we've got a few different things we're going to keep track of. Let's get into the rules. X is the 4th component installed. Okay, love it. Best kind of clue. Let's put that right on the diagram. Exactly 2 components are attached by hand at some time before X is attached. So basically, we're going to have something done by hand, and then X. There's some deductions we can come up with, obviously, about those first 3 elements, but we'll leave that for a moment from now. No component is attached by hand before T is attached. So there are a couple ways we could symbolize this, but let's do it pretty literally. Nothing is done by hand before T, so we're just going to use a kind of anti-block there. W is attached sometime before T, so simple enough. W ... T. Y is attached at sometime after both Z and S. Okay, I love this kind of clue. The thing you want to keep in mind is Y and Z have a relationship, and Y and S have a relationship, but Z and S have no special relationship here. So we're just going to symbolize this as 2 separate clues. Z comes sometime before Y, and S comes sometime before Y. But again, Z and S, we have no idea what order they go in. The 6th component is attached by hand. Okay, so again, let's get that right on the diagram. 6th component is attached by hand. Time for some deductions. Well, let's start with that first clue. 2 of these first 3 elements, exactly 2 though, have to be H. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of put in H, H, M, but I'll do a little circle here, maybe a little arrow, smiley face, question mark. I don't know the order. I know that it's 2 by hand and I know that it's 1 by machine, but I don't know what the order is. However, something interesting is going on with the whole T thing. So if I had a situation where I was trying to do like HH, I would have a problem. Unless T went first, I guess. T could go first in that scenario, but nothing before T can be done by hand. And actually, if we push that a little further, take a look at this next clue. W is supposed to come before T. So in fact, T can't go first here because W is supposed to go before T, which means either the first thing done is by machine. Actually, I think that has to be the case. Yeah, the first thing would have to be by machine, and it would have to be W, because otherwise there would have to be something done by hand before T comes. In fact, I think that also means we know for sure T has to go second, because the next thing up is going to have to be attached by hand. That's what we know from that X clue. 2 items before X have to be by hand, so in this case it's got to be 2 and 3. Interesting. Honestly, this is a lot more than you typically get from even a simple one-to-one order game. I feel kind of bad, honestly. There was a Manhattan Review game that I kind of, I kind of carped on a few months back because I thought they gave us too many deductions, more than a typical LSAC game. But really, in this case, we have a lot of deductions. We're not even done yet. For example, we've got these Z, S, and Y clues to deal with. We know for sure that there's no way Y is 3rd or 5th for that matter, because even if we put S and Z 3rd and 5th, Y would have to go sometime later. In the same way, we know there's no way S is 7th or that Z is 7th, so we can eliminate that. And then V is kind of a least restricted element. We don't know anything about V. I don't think any of the clues were about V. So V is going to kind of fill in wherever we need. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and jump into the questions. Number 11, which one of the following could be an accurate list in order of the first 3 components? Well, we know for sure it has to begin WT. And so A is okay, B is okay, but none of C, D, or E begin WT, and so it can't be C, D, or E. And then answer choice B has Y up third, but we know that's not possible. That was one of our deductions, so 11 has to be A. Looking ahead, our first specific question is number 13, and what's going to be important in a game like this, where we have a lot of information, is just to make sure that we bring all of this down every time we do the game. And so I'm going to bring all that information from the top of our diagram down. 13 says this: if V is the 7th component attached, so we'll go ahead and put V here, 7th, each of the following components could be attached by machine except. Well, if V goes 7th, then there's only one option for Y. It's going to have to be 6th. And then either S or Z, I think, could go 3rd or 5th here. Do I know anything about what else is going to have to be attached by machine or by hand, though? I don't think I have any other clues right now that help me with that, unless I'm missing something. So I don't know. Let's just go into the answer choices. Could S be attached by machine right now? Sure, because it could be 5th for all we know, right? So I can cross off A. V, again, sure, could be machine, could be hand. Either way it works. X could be either way, but Y. Okay, Y has to be attached by hand, and so answer choice D is the best choice for number 12. Do we have another specific question? Looks like we've got 16 here. Again, I want to make sure and bring down all of our information. If S is attached by machine, which one of the following must be true? Well, there are only a few places you could... Actually, there's only one place. S attached by machine has to go in slot 5. We know S can never go last, so it can't go in slot 7. And then we also know whatever's in slot 3 is attached by hand, so S can't go there. V, Z, and Y right now, I think you could move them around in a variety of ways, though. So for example, Z could go here, and then Y or V could switch around in 6 and 7. But for that matter, you could also have V in 3, Z in 6, Y in 7. So I don't know that we can figure anything else out for sure. What do they want to know? What must be true? A, Z is attached by hand. My initial inclination is to say no, that's not a must be true. But the one thing we do know about Z right now is it can't go 7th, meaning it's either 3rd or 6th, and both 3 and 6 are being attached by hand. So actually, yes, that's our must be true. All right, general questions. Wait, that wasn't 12 earlier, that was 13. Okay, number 12 is a general question. Which one of the following components must be attached by machine? Well, from our deductions, W always gets attached by machine, right? So that is answer choice C. Nice, number 12 is C. Next question, number 14. Which one of the following is a complete and accurate list of the components, any one of which could be the 6th component? So we're interested in this 6th slot here. Well, we know for sure Y could be there because we've seen that already. So A and B are out on number 14. But we've also said, like on number 16 here, it could have been Z or V, right? So C doesn't have V, that's no good, and E doesn't have V. So the only answer that has Y, V, and Z is answer choice D, and I guess we get S for free in that case. Only one question to go. Number 15 here. Which one of the following components must be attached by hand? Well, again, that's right in our deductions. It was T that had to be attached by hand, and so 15 has to be B. All right, we've got questions 11 through 16. Again, this was section 1, which was the experimental section. A, C, D, D, B, A. Very good. We got them all right. Always feels good to get them all right. Well, there you have it. That's the third game of the experimental games section from PrepTest 91, one of the more recently released LSATs. Again, if you want to get a hold of that test yourself, I'll put a link down to, I think what they're calling Triple Prep, which is available on Amazon, and I'm sure wherever other places fine test prep materials are sold. Of course, you can also get your access to that test on Law Hub. If you're planning to apply to law school, probably you're going to want to take advantage of Law Hub. Again, it would be so nice if this were the scored games section, because all 3 of these games so far have been pretty easy. I hope to come back really quickly, maybe even later this week, and knock out the 4th experimental game section. If you have a different game that you'd like me to throw up next in the order, though, put it in the comments, and until then, I will see y'all next time. Next time. Next time. Next.